Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gauntlet. All right, now, welcome. My name is Joseph, and you got me tonight to be your host over here. I'm sorry for being a little bit behind, but, work kind of gets that thing. But let's go ahead and get it started. We're going to bring in the four horsemen. We're going to start off with who I like to call the R&B aficionado. He down all the way in the dirty, dirty South in Houston, Texas. Mr. J, a.k.a. Denzel Snipes. What up, man? How you doing?
Man, you skated way past. We had intro videos and everything, and you was like, nah, let's just go.
Nah, because I was expecting the intro videos to come through. Then I came on and I was like, oh, well, here I am. Let's do the dang thing. Let's go.
It's all good. We'll find somewhere in the middle of the video and whatnot. But we good, man. We good. We just got to keep it pushing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be something crazy if something erratic happened with me. So, that's, neither here nor there. My bad, everybody. We all doing the best we could up here. This is Joseph. If you knew me, you would know improv is something that happens with me. Okay? But, glad to be on the show. Glad to have you on here, my man from the dirty South and Texas. The next horseman is my brother from another mother who is older than me, but has the same pizzazz as I am. He's all the way up in Detroit, Mr. Dom DeRubis. Come on, Dom. What's up, boss?
What's up, y'all? Pizzazz. I like that. And you're 100% right on that tip.
How you doing today? How was your week?
Good. Busy. Long. I'm tired. I got home from work at 4 o'clock. I was asleep before 4:30. Woke up at 7, took a shower. Now here we be.
Okay.
Let's get it. Let's get it. So we got 2 of 3. That's only right to get the fourth one in here. You know him, you love him. He started the show. He kept everybody keep it going. He came back and make a comeback. He may have had to borrow a couple of players from my team to win a Super Bowl back in 2017, but we still love him all the same. Mr. James Tatum, all the way in Philadelphia. What's up, James? How you doing, boss?
First of all, we didn't borrow nothing. We won a Super Bowl because we had a great squad. We had a loaded squad, but
I mean, Torrey Smith and Timmy Jernigan was the key components on that squad that y'all won. So
it's that man Charles Tatum.
They call me Chuck over here.
Chucky T.
I am done. I am so bad at that saying that, but as how you doing today, James?
I'm good. How you doing today?
It is 8 o'clock at night. It is no longer the day.
And by the way, to answer Jordan's question, we actually switched today, and we go live on Fridays now. So I hope that answers your question.
All right. But how was everybody's week? Everybody was good? We good?
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Just ready to get it rolling, man.
Yes.
Productive.
These are the brothers, y'all. And of course, we give a shout out to one that I haven't seen in a long time who actually bestowed upon me to anoint me a part of the team. And that's Tyler Ingram. Huge shout out to one of the original Four Horsemen. All right. So we got the sports moron of the week. Let's go ahead and get it going. Y'all take it away, and then I'll come up and conclude it for y'all.
Are you guys kidding me?
So I have a sports moron that we all saw not less than 24 hours ago. Well, it was about 24 hours ago at this time period. But my sports moron is Denver Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett. We're going to get into, and you know what? Let me change this real quick. I'm just going to change something because for the time being, I'm done trying to cut for this cat. So if you direct your attention to the bottom for the remainder of this telecast, we refer to the Broncos quarterback as Ciara's husband, okay? CeCe's hubby. He doesn't have a name. Number 3 for the Broncos does not have a name. But my sports moron is Nathaniel Hackett. So it's an overtime, and it's a 4th and 1. And you're right there by the goal line. And mind you, Ciara's husband is about, at this point, 1 and 5 going into the end zone. So it's 4th and 1. You need a yard. You don't send Melvin Gordon up the middle. You don't call a design run for Ciara's hubby. You have him throw into the end zone. Horrible, terrible play call. I'm sorry. If this is your fourth game as a head coach, I get it. But you've seen and been around football long enough to know that was not the move. And it lost you the game. I mean, there was many other aspects out there, like how bad Ciara's husband's been playing and whatnot. I mean, we may get into that in a little bit. But Nathaniel Hackett, I mean, you're the head coach, dog. Everything begins and ends with you. So you or whatever offensive coordinator made that call, I don't know who it is, but y'all going to take it this week. So that's my sports moron.
Nathaniel Hackett was mine as well. I'm not sure. I'm almost positive this dude gets fired by the end of the season. 5 games in, the Broncos, as I predicted, are a horrible failure. This is the same man who already had some of his, late game decision making opportunities taken away from him. Denver brought in a guy to help this guy, manage things towards the end of the game because he obviously proved that he didn't know what he was doing once already. And then he went ahead and doubled down and was like, "Oh, you think I messed up before? Hold my beer." Yeah, things are a mess in Denver. It's not all Hackett's fault. I would also blame Sierra's husband. Melvin Gordon has not been good either, but yeah. So I would just say maybe larger umbrella. Sports morons of the week. It's you, Denver Broncos.
The real sports moron of the week is not only the Denver Broncos, and it's not only the Indianapolis Colts. It's anybody that was watching that game. If you're paying for Amazon Prime subscription, in my opinion, Amazon Prime should be free for at least the rest of the season, if not all of next season as well, for the people that actually, had to pay money for a subscription to watch that horrifying display of football that we saw last night. Both of the teams deserve to lose. The Colts ended up squeaking it out. But that is just because that is how bad Mr. Sierra's husband was, or Miss Sierra's husband was. So I got to say, I'm disgusted. And I'm actually at a loss for words when it comes to not only like last night's game. Last night's game just put an explanation on it, but through the first 4 weeks of the season, the quality of football that we have seen has been very bad. It's one of the worst seasons that I can remember in many years, and hopefully things get turned around. But so far, no. NFL games have pretty much, most of them, majority have been terrible. So that game was just an explanation point.
I try to be so positive. I always try to see the other side of things. But with my moron of the week, it's just nothing I can do. Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, I don't know why you think what you're doing is okay. And I don't know, there's something called know your surroundings, read the room. You're in Dubai. You're exposing yourself in Dubai. This is a place that it's against the law, or it's highly frowned upon if a heterosexual couple is seen kissing in the public. Kissing. And you decide to go to Dubai and show your whole behind. And then not only did you double down on it, you triple down on your craziness from saying that you know how to expose a D on Twitter and then making that picture with Tom Brady's wife. Now, if somebody came after you and beat your behind or fought you and did anything that hurt you or something like that, you just got to take accountability for that, bro, because that is absolutely the most moronic thing you could do in this world, bro. Everything Shannon said about your Undisputed when this thing broke, 100% facts. You are the sports moron of this week. I do want to point out to Mr. James Tatum, I will say people get Amazon Prime not just to watch football. There are some good shows on Amazon Prime, like Rings of Power. So I get your point.
Yeah, but there's some people that got Amazon Prime.
Yeah, the people that got Prime to watch football, I apologize to you personally.
Well, that's okay, because at one Thursday night down the line, the Ravens will play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. and that will be a good game.
But next week we go watch the
next
Bears.
week we got Commanders and the Bears.
Right.
Oh
Justin
my
Fields.
God.
We're gonna bet to see if Justin Herbert.
Let's call it right now. Yes or no? The Commanders versus the Bears will be just as bad as the Broncos versus the Colts.
I'm taking unders on everybody.
I'll put it to you like this. If one team can score a touchdown, it's already a better game than last night.
I did not see a
you
single
know how
snap of that
pissed-
game last night,
you
and I
know
am
how-
so happy about
You
it.
know how pissed I was that this thing went to overtime? If it did not go into overtime, I would have won $600 because 3 of my pick'ems would have hit because everybody was under on the unders. When they went into overtime, Russell went over, and when Matt Ryan went over, that screwed everything.
And so I know.
Pissed.
Oh, I know you was mad at Ciara's husband when he missed a wide open KJ Hamlin.
He didn't even look his direction.
Did he look his way?
He could have ran it. He could have threw it in. I just think I'm with you. Something ain't going right. But that's our morons.
$242 million.
Right. Pass me 12. Thank you. Anyway, so now we're gonna go to our player of the week, who actually is not only is he a very good football player, he's a better human being. He is an amazing talent. Came from a school that I don't really care for, but I'll give him his props because I did love him. And that's Mr. Warwick Dunn. If anybody knows Warwick helped, players get themselves up and raise them to get chances to have better chances for school. He built homes all up and down the South. He was a fantastic player and was helping to help the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win a Super Bowl. But that wasn't his first team. And he came from, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm having a brain fart, I believe it's the Atlanta Falcons.
He played.
He started with the Buccaneers.
Drafted
the
by
Buccaneers. Okay. As y'all can see, I just got off work. My mind ain't right. So let's talk about Mr. Warwick Dunn.
Dumb.
Oh, one of my favorite little big men. 5'9", 180, the vastly superior back between the tandem of him and Mike Allstott. Unlike Mike Allstott, he would actually get you yards between the 20s.
Are you sure?
What else?
We're going to go down this road? You going to die down this hill?
Pretty sure. 3-time Pro Bowler, 97 AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. What's PFWA?
Pro Football
Writer Association. Also the 97 Pro Football Writer Association Rookie of the Year. I don't know what SN is either. 2004 Walter Payton Man of the Year. The thing that I kind of forgot about that impressed me, he had his best season at age 30 in 2005 with the Atlanta Falcons. 1,416 rushing yards. Also one of his
year.
Yeah. Also, one of his 3 Pro Bowl appearances that year. I know we don't all necessarily care for the Pro Bowl, but anyone that makes
they mattered back then. They mattered back then.
Yeah, it was a popularity contest back then. Even back then, like it is now. But now, thank God, I'm sure you guys saw, but for any of our viewers that didn't, they have done away with the Pro Bowl, and it is now just a skills competition. I think they're talking about bringing back. They're bringing back beach volleyball though, which
they did away the game. The nod still happens.
Yeah. Obviously, you still get voted to the Pro Bowl. They're just not having a game anymore because that game is trash. They're talking about bringing back the beach volleyball game, which Robert Edwards' knee just cringed when he heard about that.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to get rid of a game that's boring to be a game that can bring injuries. Smart.
I mean, people can get hurt in the Pro Bowl too. I was
that's
all
why
about
they
that.
Don't play, but that's why
that's why they don't try in the Pro Bowl.
Duh.
They don't want to get hurt in a meaningless game.
I don't want to get hurt. Yeah.
And it's meant to be it's your vacation. It's not meant to be a full-out bulldoze.
True. They also need to move it back to Hawaii.
Even if we're not talking about the Pro Bowl in terms of something that's, something that matters in terms of the game, what we're saying is first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro, higher on the scale than if someone gets 4 second team All-Pros, even if they're not a first team All-Pro, I'll take that over somebody that had 6-7 Pro Bowls for their career.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So with Warwick Dunn, and not a lot of people know this, but his mom actually was a police officer, and 2 days after his 18th birthday, she was shot and killed. And he actually ended up like raising the rest of his siblings. Now, you mentioned that he was a great football player and even better human being. This is true. He helped people get on and get in them houses and whatnot. And one of the families he helped was Deshaun Watson. And then Deshaun Watson ended up paying it forward. So, but work done. Like Dom said, he was one of my favorite little big men. He was a small back who was not afraid to go up the middle. There was the tandem in Tampa Bay with him and Mike Allstott, and then in Atlanta, it was him and T.J. Duckett. He was a national champion in 1993. The infamous choke at the dope when they came back from a 4-touchdown deficit and tied Florida, because back then they didn't have overtime. He was in that game, and I mean, this dude had it all. He could carry the ball up the middle. He can catch it out the backfield. He was absolutely lethal. I hated that he went to Atlanta the year after the year that they
Vic
won
got hurt.
the Super Bowl. Yeah. He's in the
Ring of Honor, right?
Yes, he's in the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor, and he also has his jersey retired at Florida State. 10,000 career rushing yards. He averaged 4.1 yards a clip, 49 rushing touchdowns. He did have a second stint in Tampa Bay. Didn't go exactly like the first time. He was kind of downhill, but he low key is one running back that I wish would have gotten a ring. But Warren Dunn, hell of a player. Deserving of his accolades. James, you got anything?
I'm just going to say you guys covered a lot of the stuff, but for a player like him, being the size and the stature that he is, he still rushed for over 10,000 yards for his career. So anytime that you can rush for 10,000, anything over 10,000, I think is very, very impressive. So, yeah, I mean, he was a guy that was, in the NBA, when you talk about Allen Iverson, people say for him, he always played bigger than his size, or he would have had more heart than his size would show, and that's what he did. So I like work done a lot. I think good player, 10,000 yards for his career. So in the end, I think you got to give him the respect.
Is he a Hall of Famer or no?
Good. No, I thought he was on that 03 Tampa Bay championship squad, though. I thought he was. Oh, wow.
Pittman was the running back that year.
Interesting.
I really thought he was, but okay. All right. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
I'm running like my hair is on fire, and I don't intend to stop even when my legs grow tired. And I got a message, Colorado straight from Texas, captured most of me, just let me be.
I like the way y'all introduced that. That reminds me of that scary movie called Pulse. I don't know if you remember that back in like the early 2000s. It's like if you were in an electromagnetic field, you would just get connected to like the evil people. But that was cool. I like that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Was there anyone of the non-Caucasian persuasion in that commercial? I don't think there was. It was all white people.
Oh, God.
Thanks, Yeti. Thanks, Yeti. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
I mean, you could have played the Fanatics one.
Yeah. I'll play that one next. But we are sponsored by Yeti.
Exactly. We are sponsored by Eddie.
RIP to our sponsorship.
Now, like I said, check us out. Hit that like. Do what you got to do. You got to join onto the team. See what's up. We got going on. Now we're going to turn into a next topic, which is a very serious topic. It is on the forefront of everyone's mind, and it's how the NFL should handle concussions. Because as you've seen with Tua's injury, then last night with Nyheim Hines going down, and it's a very difficult process to go through, and it's a very tough one to have with players, because a player's makeup when he gets to this point is to get out there and keep balling. Whether you're getting out there to keep balling to win or you're getting out there to keep balling to get paid, you will be trying to get out there. But if you're being recommended to possibly take a leave away from the game, which is what has been going with Tua. It raises the question: how should we deal with concussions moving forward?
You.
Me?
See.
I think with the Tua thing notwithstanding, I think the NFL has definitely done a better job in the last decade or so with the concussion protocol thing. Obviously, it was, a particular doctor or two that dropped the ball with Tua. To be honest, I don't know generally that things really need to change that much or that things need to be that stringent. Obviously, like I said, they dropped the ball horribly with Tua. I didn't see what happened with Nyheim Hines. I heard he got hit and then needed some help to stand up on his own.
They evaluated Russ for a concussion too, as well.
Who's Russ? Oh, Sierra's husband.
Oh, Sierra's husband. Sorry,
Sierra's husband. That guy. I don't know. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on the aftermath with Tua. My guess is things will get more stringent. I don't know that they necessarily need to be. Obviously, in a situation like that, things should have been done differently and taken a lot more seriously. But I think overall they do a decent job. But unfortunately, when it comes right down to it, it's more often than not, even though it's not supposed to be that way because they have, protocol set in place, it's going to be up to the player. And unless the dude can't answer any of those questions or something, player's going to go back in the game if he can stand up. So does the NFL need to step forward and put some more hardline rules in place? Probably, but ultimately it's always going to be up to the player because
it's the team's jobs to protect the players from themselves.
But
it's supposed to be.
But Shannon Sharp made a good point this week, and at the end of the day, the NFL to some of these players is like a drug. And then I'm just saying the rest like so. At some point, I look at it like when somebody's going down the rabbit hole in terms of substance abuse. One of your friends has to check you from yourself, and have to sit there and be like, "Look, bro, I know you want to play, but if you want to play for the rest of your career, you need to take a chill pill off of this one. You got to start doing this." And the crazy thing is, we're seeing, unfortunately, things happen to pocket passing quarterbacks like Tua Tagovailoa, Russell Wilson, almost like situation. But certain quarterbacks that are dual threats, like the two that are in Philly and Baltimore, seem to be able to kind of understand the dynamics and not take big time hits. And to the point, though, I just think I knew that they're going to reevaluate the concussion protocols because we're a reactionary world. We react off the sudden instance. The first thing something happens, we're going to look at. But when I look at Tua's situation, I don't think the NFL could have done anything different. I think this is just a matter of somebody not being 100% thorough. Because at the end of the day, when you're dealing with something like this, and if I've always approached work as if I'm doing something I know that's affecting somebody's livelihood or somebody's well-being health-wise, I'm going to answer dot every I, cross every T, expect every nook and cranny. I'm going to approach that with leaving no stone unturned. And that looks like what happened that was left off with this gentleman. Because if you're evaluating somebody for a head injury, you have to go through everything. And it doesn't look like he went through everything.
Yeah. I was on the sports arena last week, and Ray J. Lynn, shout out to him, he actually brought up a suggestion that might, make a little bit of sense. Said instead of just taking away team doctors, just have one neutral doctor that will meet a team at their location. That'll take away some of the biasness and everything. Now, I get it. Owners are wealthy. They can pay whoever off. I get that, okay? But at the same time, if you have someone that's there in a neutral capacity, they're going to be like uninfluenced. They're not going to be, so quick to, oh, well, hey, now you work for us. You work for, the Cowboys. We're going to need you to get Prescott cleared and back in the game. And you know how they do it. They're not going to sit there and bark orders. They're just going to heavily volunteer you to clear them and put them back inside the game. Also, I believe it will be the player's responsibility. Also, it starts with the little things. Now, if you look at Tua's injury versus the Bengals, it's also about just playing smarter. He could have gotten rid of that football faster. He could have taken off running. Tua can run too. He stayed in the pocket too long. He held the ball, holding the ball too long. James, what was one problem about Wentz? Holding the ball too long. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you hold the ball too long is you get sacked and you get concussed, you know? So also you can play smarter. But also at the same time, the NFL
the team could have played smarter because he actually was concussed against the Buffalo Bills.
Yes,
so
yes,
he shouldn't
yes.
even been playing against.
He shouldn't have even been out there. We got that. We checked that box. But as far as at that moment on the field, you know what I mean? It's like, well, he's out there. He's got to protect himself. Obviously, his own team ain't protecting him. You know what I'm saying?
But
so,
doctor should be employed by the NFLPA.
But to your point, though, I will say the thing about the Miami situation with the Buffalo yet, I haven't seen anything saying the investigation is concluded. So maybe the court of public opinion, the investigation has concluded, they had foul play. But if they conduct the investigation and they find out Miami had no foul play and what indeed was the correct injury was that. Mm-hmm. It might have to have people kind of maybe take a look and be like, you know what, I got to reevaluate. The reason why I think it's tough because it's like you're kind of like a rock and a hard place because these concussions don't just affect these guys on the field at the moment in the game. They have some real life problems after the game. Right. And I don't know if you remember LaRon McClain. After he left, he was pleading out. Because he said he had so many different things going on in his head. He couldn't understand. I think you go back to the Bears, I think with the refrigerator, he was on an airplane threatening the flight attendants, saying that he will choke them to death and have their eyes gouge out because he was having a hard time with his head going on because he had so many head injuries. And it's like, at the end of the day, in terms of checking, you have to, at some point in time, the problem is, and I do think it's kind of conducive to fans themselves. Fans want to win. And a lot of these concussions have happened and these injuries have happened because people these players know these teams and these fans watching them and these owners, they want to win. And so when they want to win, they're putting themselves in harm's way. Because you imagine, if Tua, let's say he got down and got hurt and he's out for the rest of the season, by the time the end of the season comes, they're going to be calling for some people to get let go, some people to get fired. Or he'd be like, you know what, he's injury prone. Get rid of him. He had this and this, but he had a concussion. He had a concussion. So it's like you can't have it both ways because at the end of the day, the bottom line is media, fanatics, sports people love violence in sports. Everything is about violence. You can't sit here and want concussions to be taken seriously, but yet then want somebody to get clotheslined like we used to back in the day because you said that was real football.
Well, I mean, I'm actually with Dom on this one as well because the concussions are being taken seriously. People are having an emotional response because of what was going on with the Tua situation. But the NFL has been very serious about, player safety, and a lot of the rules have been changed to where you can barely touch anybody. It's going to be a 15-yard flag. And that's because of injuries and trying to protect the players at all costs, even to the cost of having poor quality of the actual game. So with this whole situation, there is going to be a response to it. The NFL is going to do something with the concussion protocol. It is going to be a lot more strict. That I am sure of, because, as you said, Joseph, it's a reactionary world that we live in. So they're going to react to it, and that's what's going to happen. And it's not good. That's not good because, as you said, JJ, people are complaining about the NFL not being, physical like it used to be. If we keep doing this and having reactions over a little situation like this, then guess what? Like 10 years from now, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be in flag football or something. You can already barely touch people.
To your point, if let's say they do, this is a nice little interesting wrinkle. If it's determined Miami had foul play and sacrifice the player in light of winning, that could give the players a chance to double down on what they've always wanted when it comes to CBA negotiations: guaranteed money. If you want me to put my body on the line for you and sacrifice my mental well-being, I am going to want to have a guaranteed contract because if I do get concussed and I can't play, your objective is to make sure you have minimal loss, which means you discard me. You're not going to discard me without paying me. So this wrinkle and how this happens could be a catalyst to the NFLPA and getting what they want. And I think that honestly may be warranted because I think that's why you see people like Deshaun Watson getting guaranteed or Lamar Jackson wanting the guarantee. Because if Tua never plays another down again, what happens to him financially? What happens to him on the gross work that he could get out in this world? Because they said, you know what? You can handle it. You're going to be all right.
Well,
maybe it'll get college players to start taking their education a little bit more seriously.
I'm pretty sure Tua has a degree, but I don't necessarily agree, JJ, with your point about, the whole Deshaun Watson comparison, because we all know that was a very sticky situation.
I agree.
And the only reason that Deshaun got a fully guaranteed deal is because only the Cleveland Browns are an organization that's willing to do something like that. All the other teams that he was in talks with, they were not willing to do that. So people are not just giving guarantees just to guarantee, but Deshaun was not going to go to a team like that unless they gave him that, which multiple teams were not.
Agreed.
And since Deshaun got that, it created a new domino effect to where Lamar wants that because Deshaun got that. Now every quarterback that gets paid is going to want that.
So let me ask you a question. Do both of them they're mobile quarterbacks? And when you're mobile, you're susceptible to what? Possibly getting colliding an injury. So yes, it played a sticky situation. The Cleveland Browns were willing to do that. But I'm pretty sure if he didn't buckle down on that, how many teams were going to give him a deal, but then also have some type of inclusions or something to be able to find a way out in light of this and this? I think that was the main factor. But I know these players look at their injury history and look at injuries as a factor.
Well, yeah, after this Tua situation, players are going to actually have a strong argument for why they want to get fully guaranteed, or a stronger one than what they had before. But all I was saying was with the Deshaun and the Lamar comparison, I think Deshaun got his fully guaranteed money a different way than what you're trying to talk about with, Lamar and all these other players.
Well, the reason why I brought up Lamar is because the biggest reason they say they want to pay him is because they're afraid of him getting hurt. Concussions are part of getting hurt.
Yes, it's a part of the game. That's why, and whenever you say the whole reactionary thing, and part of the reason of why the public was so pissed off was because they did their investigation and said it was a back injury when all of us could see that it was a different story. This is probably part of the reason why this topic is even up in the first place, because I remember we talked about the same thing on the sports arena. Like we all knew that investigation was BS. It was not a back injury. It was a concussion. He stumbled and fell twice. They said
it was a back injury because it was a short turnaround. It was a Thursday night game. There's not enough time for him to get cleared from concussion protocol. And that's why they did it.
And you have to think, I can't say it's not unreasonable, whereas you did have a lower back injury that you stumble when you're walking, get up, because your lower back is connected to your spine, your nerves and your spine. So like you could get up and then stumble a little bit. And while it may look like it's a concussion, that's what I said. We have to see what happens with the NFLPA investigation. And we're going to see how much the NFLPA cares about the players.
Right. And whenever you get a situation, because when we all saw Tua's fingers lock up like that, immediately everyone's heart's dropping. It's like, man, he should not have been out there. That's what's causing so much of the uproar. Sometimes seeing something like that is enough to get the public opinion in an uproar. Wow, you feel sorry for him because he was just he was out there just hurt, vulnerable, didn't know where he was at. You know what I mean? So like I said, I like the opinion of having the neutral doctors out there. That way, no one's being swayed. Yeah, no one's biased or anything like that. You assign this doctor and have it in a rotation. This doctor, okay, you go to Orchard Park and for the Bills and the Texans game. Okay, this doctor, you go to Detroit and cover and do the Bills and the Lions or something like that. And then you go to like Philly and the Commanders or whatever. Have them unbiased. That way, no one can be swayed like either way. And it's less of a chance of an owner coming down and saying, hey, I'll slip you an extra 20 grand if you just clear this guy. I know he can see 10 of everything, but we need him on the field.
Right. Now, with that being said, we do have to segue into one of my favorite topics, which was just started this year. It's called the Gauntlet Grinders. Your people that you have that have just grinded it out and they made a difference for their team and they helped them team get to a victory. What are your Gauntlet Grinders of the week? I think we get two, one from the AFC and one from the NFC.
It's however you want to do it. You do two, one, whichever.
Well, I'd like to, take a little lead on this one, if I may, and I do want to sit there and say congratulations to Joseph Jenkins being the first time I ever been on any type of show with headphones in. But anyway, my Gauntlet Grinder, and I hate to say it because it came against my team, is Josh Allen on the AFC side. Because Josh Allen literally did that in terms of willing his team back to beat the Ravens in an environment that was very different for him. It was tough because he had been down. Things weren't going his way. He grinded it out, whether it be hitting on the pass, whether it was Stephon Diggs or Dawson Knox, or whether he was trying to scramble down and try to get a couple first downs. He made critical plays that stopped the Ravens from winning. And on the NFC, I will give a huge Gauntlet Grinder to the entire San Francisco defensive line. I combined them all as one because they made Matthew Stafford look like he was a Pop Warner quarterback who only knew just throw it to the best player on my offense. That's it. They were relentless. They were knocking him. They were just beating him up. And he just looked like he was dying to get out the game. And as a defensive guy who loves grinding, I couldn't be. Hats off to them. Hats off.
So just going real quick. So my Gauntlet Grinder of the week is, never thought I'd be saying this brother's name, but Geno Smith, quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, against the Detroit, which low-key was game of the week. Win versus Detroit 48-45. He was 23 of 30 for 320 yards, 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions, no sacks. He had a QBR of 91.3 and a passer rating of 132.6. He said it after the first win of the season. He said, many people wrote me off. I didn't write back. And I was just talking with James earlier today about this. No one. And Denzel means no one could see today that Geno Smith is playing better football than Ciara's husband. I want you to mark this date right here, right now, this time that I said this. And you can go and you can look at the play on the field. You can look at the YouTube footage. You can check stats. Right now, he's playing better ball than Ciara's husband. So, Broncos country, y'all still riding or y'all on 4 flats?
Well, since you took my Eugene Cyril Smith III thunder, my NFC Gauntlet Grinder is fellow Seahawk Rashad Penny, 17 carries, 151 yards, 2 TDs. He kind of started slow. Actually, that's not really true. I was just waiting patiently for him to bend us over, and he did. He had a long touchdown run. AFC Grinder of the week is Josh Jacobs, 144 yards, 2 rushing TDs, another 30 yards in the air on 5 catches. And, who did they beat that week? Oh, it was the Broncos and Ciara's husband.
So Dom got cut off again, but I gotta say, for me, my Gauntlet Grinder is Hassan Reddick. Obviously, plays for the Eagles, coming over from the Panthers last year. Against the Jaguars, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. The Eagles defense forced 5 turnovers against Trevor Lawrence, and the Jacksonville offense basically completely shut them down. Every time you looked up, Hassan was making another play. So everyone talks about the moves the Eagles made to bring in someone like A.J. Brown, and all that's very good for the team. But Hassan Reddick has definitely been one of the best additions that the Eagles have brought in. And you can kind of see that he plays with a different fire, being somewhat of a local guy. He's from Jersey. He played his college football at Temple and played his games in Lincoln Financial Field in Temple. And he's playing them again on the Eagles. So I think that you're just seeing a different version of Hassan Reddick. And I think as the season goes on, he's going to continue to get better, but definitely a welcomed addition to the Eagles defense.
All right. That was fantastic. So now we're going to go to what's called the early season disappointments. This is when there's a team that was such high praise just falls short. So with that being said, we have a local guy in Philadelphia who is a basketball fan of Sixers who's used to disappointment. So we'll have him take the lead on what is an early season disappointment in the NFL. Take it away, James.
What, in the NFL? I mean, the obvious answer is the Broncos. And I remember when we had the show, I was the only person that said that I'm not sold on the Broncos because I don't think they're going to do anything, because you're saying all this stuff about how, Russell Wilson this and that, and Russell Wilson gets all the excuses. Keep in mind, people have been talking about this guy like he's an elite quarterback and saying, let Russ cook and doing all this stuff, but he ain't doing nothing. This guy doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have a running game. Doesn't have that. So you put him in a team and you say, okay, this team is a quarterback away. And now you paid him $242 million. The Denver Broncos are exactly the team that I thought they were going to be. I'm just more shocked that Russ has been this terrible. I didn't think Russ was going to be that good. Like, I didn't think he was really going to do much. But for him to be playing at the same level as, some of the worst quarterbacks in the league, it's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable what we've seen from the Denver Broncos. And that is why they have been a major disappointment. And they are one of the most hyped teams. And they have not lived to the hype.
Right.
Yeah, in the AFC, it's definitely the Broncos. I actually misspoke. I forgot that the Raiders just got their first win last week, so the Raiders are actually
Against the Broncos.
I was going to say, the Raiders are still in last for one more week until Denver plays. Oh, wait, they already lost this week. In the NFC, it's the Rams. Their offensive line, it's funny because you talk about, how hard it is in the NFL to repeat as Super Bowl champs. The Rams lost their best offensive lineman, Andrew Whitworth, and their best pass rusher, Von Miller. And now look at them. They have the worst sack differential in the entire NFL. Poor Matt Stafford looks like Lions Matt Stafford. I think he got sacked 7 times when they played last week. He has no chemistry with anyone not named Cooper Kupp or Tyler Higbee. Allen Robinson just looks like I don't know. I can't necessarily blame it on Allen Robinson. There's definitely a lack of chemistry issue there. I don't think they played but maybe a handful of snaps together in the preseason. And it's funny because I myself included was like just salivating over those prospects. Like, oh man, Allen Robinson's finally got a quarterback, which in theory he does. It's not the Matt Stafford we remember from last year, but yeah, Robinson looks like a cardboard cutout out there. And now Van Jefferson's hurt. They had that other receiver that they took in the first round a couple years ago, Atwell, and he's been a bust. People are starting to look at Les Snead like, maybe this guy's not actually that good at drafting. That's a very likely possibility.
OBJ
I want to see him go back to the Giants personally.
He rehabbing in Bahamas, and he said he knows what they want, and they know what he wants, and he just needs to make the call.
Yeah. He's got a lot of suitors right now, though.
And he's a
But
father,
yeah.
so trust and believe he's not going to jump at a bad situation. He's going to jump at a situation that he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine, believe it or not, are the Raiders. You know, you got one of the best receivers in Devontae Adams. They've been in just about every game this year, but they just couldn't seem to close the deal. Once again, I'm not having them winning the division. My pick is still Kansas City, far, far, and far away. But they should be doing better than what they are, considering that they made the playoffs this last season. Now, just a little something is they actually still have a chance to turn their season around because these are the following next games for the Raiders. They're at Kansas City, which, okay, they're probably going to lose that one going. So they'll be 1-4 going into the bye. But here are their next 5 games coming out of the bye. Houston, which we know what the Texans are. They're young and rebuilding. We're pretty much cannon fodder. At New Orleans, who has Andy Dalton at quarterback and an injured Jameis Winston. At Jacksonville, who's a quite unpredictable team. You know, one week they look like world beaters, the next they lose to a contender. So it's unknown what Jags team you're really going to get, but that should be a winnable game. Indianapolis, and well, they're unpredictable, and you just saw what they did last night. And then at Denver, which they got their first win. So in having this conversation or something like it on Sideline Sports, on the Gauntlet, whichever, could be 6-4 by the time we have this conversation again. They still have, I think they have the most advantage of turning their season around because of their next slate. Now, I don't know what's going on after those 5 games, but these are very winnable games for the Raiders. I believe that the Raiders are better than all the teams that I just named. However, up to this point, yes, they are disappointments. Made the playoffs this last season. You still got a more than serviceable quarterback in David and Derek Carr. You still got Josh Jacobs in your backfield. You still got Hunter Renfrow. I mean, you have the tools. You got Darren Waller. Like, what more do you need? You should not have only one win by now. You know, so that's
overrated.
Yeah, you know. So, but that's my pick. JJ, on to you, man.
So I'm gonna start in the NFC. The Arizona Cardinals. And they're disappointing in the sense of, yes, we know they had a collapse before and things of that nature, but they had the rumors and the things came in that they were going to be learning from their mistakes. They were going to be able to figure it all out. You know, you signed Marquise Brown, who was with Kyler Murray and had a great all year back in Oklahoma with him. There was a lot of hoopla going on. There was a lot going on there. And they just happened to just fall flat. Some say to be expected, like the one that's above me in Philadelphia. Some of them say to be expected. But for the consensus part, Arizona was in the mix to possibly contend for the NFC West crown. And
they still could. Nobody seems like they want to win that division.
San Francisco.
They could. And the NFC and the AFC, this team is the most disappointing team in the AFC because this team could be 4-0, to be honest with you, and looking like the best team in the league. Because when you get up by 20 plus points or 17 plus points on who was considered the best team, which was Buffalo, considered the team on the rise, which is Miami, they've only been down or lost in 14 seconds. 14 seconds of 4 games, you have been behind. You have disappointed time in and time out. Shout
out to you for calling out your own team.
Right. Oh, absolutely, because we are better than this. There is no way in life that you sit here and seen a team that had pride on the defensive side to lose a 21 point lead. It's just when you show talent that you look like you're like the best team in the game. Look like you just run away with things. And then you keep collapsing like this. It's disappointing. It's despicable sometimes. It does sting, but I'm still confident in my team, but I'm going to call a spade what a spade is. And I think the Ravens have been the most disappointing team in the AFC.
I mean, the Lions could be 4-0 if we could stop a gentle breeze.
I think we just got to wrap this up and say, if we're being honest, the whole AFC West is a disappointment other than the Chiefs. I mean, before the season, we were saying that they were going to be the greatest division. The Chargers did not look that good.
The Raiders, Charger on Charger.
Crap. in the end, as Dom says, the Chargers are going to Charger, the Raiders are going to Raider, and the Broncos are going to Bronco. Chiefs win the division with ease.
Okay. Good point. Good point. Now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it to the man all the way up in Philadelphia for our
we're going to bring on a special guest, a fellow Eagles fan. This guy, he is a barber. He is a beat producer. He is a guy that I can't really name a thing that this man cannot do. And we're gonna bring him on and have a little bit of barbershop talk with Silver the Barber. What's up, Big Silver?
What's up, homie?
What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight, to be a part of the Gauntlet. Really appreciate your time. So
hey, thanks, man.
We just want to start off and, tell everyone watching a little bit about yourself, your background and everything, how you got into barbering and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, well, for the folks that don't know who I am Silver the Barber, a.k.a. the Beat Barber, also known as Silverback Monstertainment. And
I like it.
I'm a barber. That's what I do. I eat with my hands. Right? You know what I mean? So I cut everybody, not just some people. I cut everybody. Doesn't matter what nationality you are. I got my own little slogan. If you can grow that shit, Silver the Barber can cut that shit. That's some real shit. No, I don't mean to cuss, and I know we supposed to got some kids here.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just hope you don't charge $55.
Nah,
he doesn't.
Not 55. Just 40, boss. Just 40.
That'll work.
That'll work for me.
That'll work.
You know what I mean? And yeah, man, you can get more bees with more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So I'd rather have long stay than short explosive shit. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's 100.
Well, we're happy to have you on the squad with us, man, tonight. We appreciate you taking the time out to be with us. Man, it takes a lot to put up with James, so we know you got some grit about you.
Oh, that's my man, Pots and Pans, right there. That's my homie.
He knows it.
He's like an enigma to me, but I love him dearly.
That's my homie.
Appreciate it. So, Silver, when we're talking about sports, a lot of times we talk about different eras, and you see how one era of players was different than another era.
That's...
So what is wrong with the barbers of today compared to like the era of barbers that you came from?
Okay. Well,
what do you think the problem is why a lot of barbers don't want to work?
Okay.
Well, I can't say it's the oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Jay. I can't really say it's the times. Well, I can say it is the time. What I mean by it is the time. The folks back then, there was more hard work, the diligence, going at it day by day, consistency. You understand what I'm saying? Nowadays, with the government getting in the way of how you raise your kids, and these kids are acting goofy because there's no consequences at home. You understand what I'm saying? So they run around shooting, doing all this nut stuff because they don't have to really deal with nothing until they get incarcerated. Now they got to deal with it. Their mom and dad didn't really get at them, man. Hey, you do this again, this A, B, and C is going to happen. You know what I mean? The mom and dad didn't do that here in the city. And I can't say everybody parents is non-parental, but some parents are non-parental. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you want to be your kid's friend instead of them being their mom and dad.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement because I used to work, like the guys know, I used to work in the prison for a year. And I've seen firsthand how many inmates I've talked to, and they're like, man, I wish I would have listened to my mom and daddy. I wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So
it's the fact of life.
Mm-hmm. You would think, it sounds so simple. Like, those are our guides, our first guides, And then when they tell you go right, you go left, and that's what happens.
But I'm about to ask everybody that's in this current joint a question right now, and I know everybody's answer is going to be similar. Did you get an ass when you was a kid?
Yep.
Did you get an ass from my man with the glasses on?
Oh, should I get my butt whipped now for my mom sometimes?
My man with the tea hat. James, I know you got your ass from a couple times, cuz.
So let me ask.
I couldn't
My
say
mom
I
broke
Let me
a
ask you a
wooden spoon on
question.
my back when I was
Do you-
19.
I have the parent where if I called her on the phone right now and she says hello and I said yeah, she'd be like, "You gonna take that yeah and say hello?
say
How
yes.
are you?"
Yes,
Like
yes,
that
or
time.
hello. Yes, yeah.
But let
That's
me
how my
ask you-
child was raised.
Let
That's
me
how I
ask you a
was raised.
question. Do you think it's a matter of, unfortunately, because this is a technological world? Because I remember growing up back in the day, the barbershop used to go and talk about all types of things. Everybody was involved because everybody had no choice. Now when I go in barbershops, everybody's on their phone. Nobody's really talking. Nobody's really having dialogue. So there's not really no interest in really coming, because the barbershop used to be a fun place to go.
Yes.
How iconic was the barbershop movie when it first came out? How iconic was that movie? But now I think the times has changed. People just are focused on their own phones and stuff.
Devices, yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and deny things you're saying, because what you say is partly true. So like 60% true. You dig what I'm saying? But again, because we gotta go back with the home rearing. If there was such a home rearing to the kids when they go to the barbershop, yes, the barbershop is like a therapist. A barber is a therapist, in other words. Because we talk about things, and we do give our opinion, and sometimes we give our direct answer as well. You understand what I'm saying? But as a barber, I listen to people because it helps me. What's the real shit? Real crap. It really helps me. It helps me a lot because sometimes, I'm human just like everybody else.
Right.
So I go through things just as much as everybody else go through things. And sometimes James, even though he not even know what he's saying or doing, he's helping me out big time. Just like if you go shop back in the day.
Here dusty. I left undusty.
Undusty. You know what I mean? Trust me. And Silver the Barber, we trust.
Yeah.
I came in here with the dust, but now I don't got it anymore because I got a fresh cut. Silver the Barber I trust.
You're doing a great job with that man.
Barbershops was so, appreciated back then because, it was an OG that was cutting your hair. You could meet women there. You talked about sports. You had some laughs. You got advice from other OGs there and everything. Like the barbershop was, like cats go to the club now and all that. And that's cool, but it's like, man, we went to the barbershop. We was in the
So here's another thing. My other theory on this is that when we came up in barbershops, at some point in time, that was kind of the only field that we were able to kind of get into, to able to have some chance to make some money. So it kind of became like a safe haven for us throughout the years and the history of this world that we live in. Mm-hmm. And so people came over there and they were looking because they knew that if they wanted somebody to hear them, they wanted somebody to help them, they wanted somebody to help them grow, they knew if they went to the barbershop, somebody was going to have their back and help them and tell them what's, be that tough love and be that person. And so nowadays, everybody is unfortunately not, the focus isn't there. The focus is, and I hate to say it, I go to this all the time, and I say this all the time. People aren't thinking about coming to get advice when they go to the barbershop. People aren't thinking about coming to get advice. They just want to get in and get out because they feel like they already know the ticket to be able to get to greatness. And it usually stems from something of like stupidity, so to speak. Because if you remember from Scream 4, she said, you don't need to go to school. You don't need to get a degree to get money. All you have to do is do some crazy stuff or have some effed up stuff happen to you to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody's life is different. So even if you might have made an F up situation, you might not benefit rightly like everybody else will.
Yeah.
So, you can't really put that shoe on. You understand what I'm saying?
And let me ask you a question as well. I feel like now after COVID, barbers are going mobile. Barbers are going, I'll come to your house and charge an extra $10 or $15 for gas. And people are buying it sometimes, at least out of the DC area.
Barber Dash.
Because I used to have a barber who used to come to my house all the time because it was that much easier. And it was a perfect thing. But now I started going back to the barbershop, but I got used to that. And I think I've talked to a lot of people over the last year or 2 years. They've gotten used to that.
Yeah, I think it's evolution of the the barbershop field also. So I had a friend of mine back in Abilene who bought a trailer and he gutted it out and he's putting chairs and he's putting a flat screen. He's got all his equipment and everything. And so instead of staying in one spot, he's gonna go mobile.
Most of the barbers that do, they do outcalls. That's what I call it, outcalls. Is because it's convenient. It's convenient for the client. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother lane right there in the barber lane. That's a whole nother lane. You don't even have to be in the barbershop barber if you choose not to. You can be just a stop by type barbershop. You know what I mean? Barber. And like you said, your buddy hooked his joint up, a trailer, and made a whole shebang out of it. You dig what I'm saying? You can make that happen, Captain. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a business either way. You're supplying and demand.
Yeah, he had one strategy he's gonna do is he was like, man, I'm gonna just pull up right outside the club on like a Saturday at like 6 o'clock. I'm gonna fade people up, and then later on that night they're gonna go right inside the club. And like you said, it's a convenience. It's like well, you don't, and I'm not saying it works for everybody, but his mind frame is like, look, it's convenience for you because you don't have to come to me. I'll come to you.
Yeah, but say there's a good thing and a bad thing about that. You know what I mean? The bad thing is you'll go to somebody that you tell them their price, and then you done wasted your gas and your time going there because they're not going to pay that price.
Yeah,
and you didn't go clear across town for somebody you thought you was going to make $100 off of.
Yeah,
and you made a big fat zero.
Yeah.
But I think
what I do is, as a barber, I supply the trout. What I mean by that is I supply the spot for them. I don't know if only one person in this group has been in my barbershop, and that's James. And I have it plush laid out. You go there, make the money. I'm right down the street from Temple University. I already have college kids coming to the barbershop already. And it's all for me alone doing this. So imagine if I had 8, 9 other barbers doing that same thing.
Right.
He's carrying the shop.
He is. Literally.
And my shop is 2 floors.
You sound a lot like the well, I don't have a chance to go to him now because he's so busy, but my barber that I usually go to has been cutting my hair since I was 4. And he started off with his own shop in Silver Spring, where I grew up in Maryland. And now he has 2 shops, one in Silver Spring, one in PG Plaza. His schedule is booked out for like 2 months. And he actually was cutting hair for Willis McGahee and Clinton Portis when they were both in the DC area or the DMV area. And so it's like, he talks about the story and similar things to you. It's like, he has those people that you trying to envision. All his peoples, they hustling. And they all grinding because they enjoy the rewards as well. Like they just got back from a trip to Miami because all of them was busting it out and get all that bread. They were able to enjoy this. So it's like everybody's on the grind. They just want to keep making money because the money's out there. Grooming,
the money's out there, brother. You ain't never lied.
Grooming because of the corporate world. If you're trying to make it, if you want to based off how you look, grooming is always going to be an end.
Well,
it's always
barbering is a cornerstone to society. So. Everybody needs a barber. Everybody needs a cook. Everybody needs a mortuary.
Supply them what they need.
You know what I mean? So like barbering would never go out of style. What I mean by that is they'll never get any machines in there that can actually cut a person's hair like a human being can. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
So that's occupation that will never be taken over by machines. We live in a 20th century. I keep saying the 23rd because
it feels like it.
Right. I get a cut from a machine. I already know I'm gonna still be dusty. So
it's crazy because the way the world is right now, with society and with electronics and next year cars gonna be flying.
We said that back in like 19.
Right, I'm telling you. Next year,
whatever year Back to the Future came out.
They already got the driverless cars already.
I thought we was gonna be in like. If you'd have asked me this question back in like when I was in the 4th grade, I'd have been like, "Oh man, our house is gonna be able to fly. We could just hit the lever and take off and fly to Italy and live there, just the whole house in the sky." You know what I mean? So yeah.
So with that, this has been an amazing conversation. I so wish we could like continue on more. So maybe one day come on.
Mm-hmm.
I will end it with this. I sure hope a barber was the one to get LeBron to go bald, because if he did, that man should be able to get the money of his life, because whoever would have thought
that was a good thing for LeBron to go bald.
Go bald. Now, with that being said,
all that hair follicle, all that motherfucking, all that, what they call the fibers, that was too much, guys.
The Rogaine, no, thank you.
They had the fibers in his hair, so when he sweated, it ran.
Yeah,
like
that's
that's fibers.
That was
ran like
he had that Carlos Boozer hookup.
Yeah.
So with that,
it ran like Rudy Giuliani's freaking stuff when he sweated.
So it looks like we got about 5 minutes over, but this type of conversation would happen in a barbershop. You know what I mean? This right here would happen in a barbershop.
Conversation.
Yeah.
And so, why don't everybody go around the line? We'll start with I'll let James segue because he got his man on the show with us, and it's been a great conversation. You guys can start off and talk about. Tell us where to find you.
You can find me, on Twitter, James Tatum 01, Instagram, Tatum Time 12. You can find me on YouTube, Philly Gym, the LinkedIn podcast where we talk about everything Eagles. That's on Tuesday nights at 9:30 Eastern. Obviously, you're on the Gauntlet every Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, all right.
Mondays.
Boss man.
Oh no, yeah. Go ahead, Silver.
Oh, okay. You can find me on. All right, I got a lot of stuff. All right, all right. For the barbering situation, you can find me at Silver the Barber at Instagram. Silver the Barber Cuts on Facebook. Silver the Barber on Facebook. For music production, the Beat Barber, you can find that on Instagram. Silverback Monster Entertainment on Instagram. You can find TikTok. I'm everywhere. Spotify, Tidal. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere when it comes to music. You know what I mean? So Silverback with 2 Ks, BACKK, Monster Entertainment.
Business mogul doing business mogul things.
Trying to
Yes, sir. Big business.
Detroit Dom.
Mondays at 8 p.m. Fire Up Michigan with Scott Morganroth, who is the owner of the South Florida Tribune. Tuesdays I'm off. Wednesdays, NFL Roundtable, Smoking Jeremy B, Kneecap Biting. Thursdays, Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, that's at 7 p.m. Back on the sip-off when the season starts. That's at 8:15. That'll be later in the year. Same with the NBA Carousel. That's also on Mondays. Fridays, obviously, you can see me here with these gentlemen. That's it. Detroit _ Dom 1 on Twitter. Harassing celebrities and pro athletes.
And H-Town's finest, who also has to be one of the most greatest food extraordinaires, Mr.
Okay. Confidential Tuesday nights. We actually just ended the season. Tune in with us Tuesday. We're going to do a playoff preview. Then we're also going to go one a month. So our next one will be like right after the World Series. We'll do one a month, kind of leading into spring training. We'll come back full force in February. Also, you can catch me on, of course, the Gauntlet Friday nights, Punters Punt Wednesday nights, and Basket Bros on Wednesday nights. And I also filled in for the Sports Arena these last 2 weeks, so check those episodes out. Shout out to those guys out there. And I got to take a mean dump, so we got to wrap it up.
With that being said, I'll make it quick because I really was gonna make it quick anyway. And I will say shout out Sports Arena. I love y'all show, and I'm like Jay. Sometimes I make appearances, maybe sooner than later. Anyway, but you can find me all across the book. I'm Joe Jenkins on Twitter 0927 or 0712. Instagram, same thing. On Facebook, it's JJ Jenkins. We got it going. Great show, you guys. Thank you guys for allowing me to host.
Thanks, guys.
Let's have a fun time. Thank you, Mr. Silver the Barber. All right, bet fellas. I will talk to you guys later, and we are done.
Good night, Canada.
Oh, it's still live. Is it?